What's up, everybody? So this is going to be kind of a first video of a series of me deep diving into writing some software. So my goal with this whole thing is to kind of go through the software development lifecycle, and yeah, hope you're interested in coming along for the ride. If not, I don't know, click off the video and go watch something else. But anyway, like I say, this is going to be, I've got this software project I'm kind of thinking about building, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to document the process as I go through it. So I post these videos as I go, kind of Louis Rossmann inspired, in a sense of, you know, get an over-the-shoulder view of somebody building out software. So this video is going to be kind of an intro video, and we'll kind of go from there over time. I'll have a playlist, I'm sure, but I'll go ahead and as I go through everything, I'm going to do, today's going to be like a feature overview, kind of brainstorming in a sense, you know, laying out features, laying out, you know, maybe even some like test cases and certain things we want the software to do, maybe even do some entity management, entity diagramming, that type of stuff, get some database stuff figured out, and then maybe even some UI mockups. We'll kind of see. I don't know that I have a great setup right now for UI mockups, but we'll go from there. So like I said, this is going to be kind of a high-level view of the software, kind of what the goals are, what the idea behind it is, what problem it solves, and then we can kind of, like I say, keep going down the rabbit trail. And over time, I'll post some development videos. I'm not real sure if I'm going to post all my development or if it's just some of it. You know, I may just do some development and then kind of bring y'all along for highlight reels type stuff. I may do some, you know, actual sit there and typing out code, figuring it out type videos. We'll kind of see how everything flows. We'll see if it catches on. I don't know if anybody's ever going to watch this stuff, but if nothing else, it'll be part of my portfolio, my software portfolio. So, yeah, so this is kind of a deep dive. Maybe I could started out a little template here, but I'll go ahead and kind of put a high-level overview here. So, kind of the first step. So, whenever you're designing software, you know, it should always solve a problem. So, kind of the first thing you should start with is what problem you're trying to solve. It's hard to, you know, develop anything without some sort of problem you're trying to solve. So we'll kind of see if I can come up with a high-level overview here. So the idea, I'm calling it TrackIt right now. I'll probably update the title and maybe do an overlay with the correct, like the name I end up with. Like TrackIt's not super interesting, but it kind of is the only thing I came up with at this point. Like I said, this has been an idea rattling around in my head for a little while of like something I wanted to build, but then yeah, just haven't really sat down and done it. But also I was kind of, you know, if once it rattles around your head for a little while, you can kind of come up with some better solutions, kind of get better ideas, and over time just kind of document stuff. So yeah, so it's kind of TrackIt's going to be the name. I'm using Joplin if anybody's interested. So this is the Joplin note-taking application. Hopefully you can see everything. It looks fine on my screen with the video and dark theme and everything. But anyway, so I'm using Joplin for this development. So the left, I like using Markdown. I'm not a Markdown expert, but it's kind of my default. Like, I like Joplin because I could just edit in Markdown, and then at some point in time, you know, it becomes pretty looking and it just kind of happens. Just kind of quicker and easier to flesh out documents quickly. I don't like Word. I don't like any sort of document editor typically, so I like Markdown just because it's easy. Anyway, back to this. So TrackIt, the idea behind this is as people, we have things in our lives that we want to keep track of. So not necessarily tracking as in GPS tracking, but tracking as in, you know, say like I have a phone, right? So my phone's going to have all sorts of information tied to the phone. Maybe I've got the model number, the serial number, the IMEI number, maybe I've got, you know, features or specs I want to track down with it and that type of stuff. I want to keep track of purchase dates, you know, so I know, okay, well, I bought the phone on, you know, February 20th of, you know, 2020 or whatever, right? So anyway, there's, you know, maybe I keep track of the receipts, warranty cards, any sort of documentation that came with the phone. Maybe I want to keep track of, you know, some other things, right? So anyway, so the idea is later on, if that phone breaks, if I need to warranty it, if I have any issues with it, if I need to go in the store, if I lose it, you know, whatever happens to the phone, I still have a breakdown of, like, I have the receipts when I bought it, I have all the documentation that goes with it, I maybe have my warranty card, serial numbers, model numbers, IMEI numbers, that type of stuff. All the stuff you might need if you were to lose the phone or trying to warranty it for some reason. Same way with computers, anything like that. All right, so the idea is that you could have this piece of software, you could plug all this information into it, and then at any point in time in the future, you can go back and reference it. Especially receipts seems to be the biggest one in my mind of like super handy if you keep receipts of it. You could even take pictures of the item, so you could like use that for warrantying or maybe insurance purposes. You have insurance on your home, but you have to I'm sure there's a process to prove what was in the home, and if you want to bit by bit go through like, oh, I had a TV, I had a phone, I had whatever you had in your phone, I had a laptop, that type of stuff. So I would think that there's some sort of process there to keep track. And maybe you could keep track of pricing and stuff, replacement costs, that type of stuff. Was your, like I say, your insurance is probably a big deal too, is on top of warranty. But warranty is the cool thing is here's my receipt. Okay, print, take it to the store, and you're good to go there. So that's kind of, I talk with my hands. I don't know if you can see them, but I talk with my hands a lot. So if I'm moving a lot, it's probably because I'm talking with my hands. But anyway, that's kind of the idea. But it goes much more than just that. So this gets even bigger of a thing whenever you start talking about cars, refrigerators, maybe tools, things like that. So the ideas, that's kind of the basic ideas. Have that like you can just basically track receipts, basic information about the thing. However, it kind of gets bigger in a sense of maybe a house, a car, something like that. So let's say you take the car, for instance. So the car would have all sorts of model numbers, trims, year model, mileage, whatever is attached to that car, colors, that type of stuff, license plate number maybe. Anyway, you keep track of all that information. Hey, you walk in somewhere and, oh, what's your license plate number? Because you're, going to a national park or whatever, they want your license plate number, type of stuff. Let me pull out my phone, license plate numbers in this app or whatever. Cool, pulled up, got the license plate number right there, VIN number, purchase date, purchase price, that type of stuff. Keep track of it, but also maintenance on the car. So, hey, I did an oil change. Oil change at 74,000 miles, oil change at 84,000 miles, and what type of oil you put in it. I put in 5W20 and it was O'Reilly's brand, or put in 5W20 Castrol brand or whatever, right? So, put in a Wix filter, and here's the Wix filter model number or whatever. So next time you go to the store, okay, well, I know this car takes 5W20 and it took 5 quarts, and I need a Wix filter of XYZ. Whatever that Wix filter model number is. Air filter, same story, or replace air filter on at 86,342 miles, and you keep track of its maintenance log on the car, and so helps you keep track, make sure your maintenance is done. Maybe even we could have some sort of notification system tied around the car maintenance, like maybe once every 6 months, then the app notifies you like, hey, you might want to check out your maintenance schedule, are you due for any maintenance, that type of stuff. Tire rotations, buy tires. So another thing that you could put in there, I bought tires at 36,500 or whatever. Here's my receipt for my tires, here's the location I bought them at, here's the brand, here's the size, all that type of stuff. So anyway, anytime you ever go back, especially if you need to warranty your tires or they prematurely failed or that type of thing, pull up the app, okay, here's my receipt, I go, here's the place I bought it from, go back to where I bought them, and then break down of like, hey, we put it on this many miles, XYZ, this happened, that type of stuff. So you go back down that rabbit trail. But like I say, it's any maintenance on a car you keep track of, especially for warranty purposes of parts. And, you go to sell it, you got proof like, hey, I changed the oil religiously at 3,500 miles or 5,000 or 10,000, whatever the mileage on your vehicle is supposed to have when the oil change happens. That type of stuff. You got records proving maintenance done on the vehicle. And so that could increase the selling value, that type of stuff. You could also have a breakdown of like, here's parts, here's receipts, here's what I did. The engine was overhauled or some sort of major work was done, transmission was overhauled, that type of stuff. You can really break down and say, here's a receipt, here's how it goes, here's what all I did, here's when it was done, here's how many miles it had when it's done, that type of stuff. So super helpful there. But like I say, the next level of usefulness would be the example I brought up of knowing what type of oil your car takes, knowing what type of filter it takes, knowing what type of, whatever filters you have on your car, if you have any aftermarket equipment, what if you have an aftermarket air intake, what the K&N filter model number is it needs, that type of stuff. So anyway, so if you ever go to an auto parts store, you have it all documented. You can pull out your phone and say, here's what I need, here's the model number, here's whatever. Then they can take that and cross-reference it. And this is a Wix filter 7486. Well, okay, well, we don't have a Wix, but we can cross-reference that to Fram or whatever, that type of stuff. But anyway, it goes further than that, because you could also keep track. You could take pictures of things. Say you got a fender bender, we'll take pictures of the fender bender and document all that in the app and keep track of that. But even another interesting thing would be to have a house. So you have a house, and I'm going to kind of break this into features here in just a second, but I'm kind of just giving this intro of kind of where I'm thinking and kind of get everybody on the same page of what I'm trying to accomplish. And then I'll try to break it out into features and that type of stuff. So anyway, so maybe you have a house. Well, inside the house, and let's even go further than just a single homeowner. Let's go to a landlord. So a landlord may have, let's say, 10 units, 10 different houses, maybe, however that fleshes out. Let's just say 10 houses. And so as a landlord goes to the house, you could add the house information. You could add when the roof was put on the house. You could add any sort of receipts or documentation from that. You could add, water heater, any maintenance done on the house, right? You could plug it in your phone, but you could dig further than that. And this is going to be an interesting this may be an interesting piece of the application is how to group this stuff. But you could essentially have sub items or sub things inside of that house. And this, like I said, could apply to other things, but the house is an easy example. So let's say you've got a water heater in the house. Well, when you have the water heater installed, right, you document, okay, the water heater was installed on February 20th of 2020 by XYZ plumber. Here's the receipt, whatever, that entails. But that water heater could be a sub item, so you could track everything at a lower level on the water heater. So the water heater has a model number. A water heater has a serial number. Water heater has serial, warranty information. Water heater will have parts and stuff. So, say you need to go, landlord gets a phone call. Hey, the water heater's not working, right? Well, they can go on their app. They can find that house. They can find that water heater, and they can say, okay, cool. I will take this information, whether they're going to order the part for themselves, maybe they go over there, it just needs a new element, cool. Well, in their app, they have all the information for the water heater. Or they call a plumber and they say, hey, I've got XYZ water heater at XYZ house, it's not working. They said, water was only hot for 2 minutes or whatever. That plumber then knows, okay, well, if I know the model number and everything on the water heater, well, maybe I could take some parts over there and have parts available instead of having to go over there. Okay, well, now I know the model, so I can go buy, okay, now I can go get parts, whatever, right? They had a model number, they have all the information to go with the water heater. So it could speed up the repair time in the sense of they already know what they're walking into is in that sense. Same way with you got a house that has a refrigerator in it, right? So like, okay, well, the refrigerator or AC unit may be another example, right? So, the AC unit's not working. Cool. Well, call HVAC technician, say, here's what I got. Here's the inside, all the model numbers for the inside. Here's all the model numbers from the outside. Hey, while you're over there, change the filters. Here's the filter sizes. Basically, you could track all this information and have it easily accessible. And you could even say, hey, it was installed on this date. Last time it was maintained was on this date. Last time my filters were changed on this date. So that HVAC tech knows exactly what they're walking into as far as models and everything, historical maintenance documentation, everything. Maybe the application could even make a printout. Maybe you could have some sort of report you could spit out on the thing. So you could say, okay, here's your report, and then you hand that off to your HVAC technician or email it or whatever. And that way they have all the information in front of them. And then whenever they get over there, right, you have them be sure, okay, can you document what you do, document, whatever, any sort of parts you replace, that type of stuff. And then, well, cool. Now, when they get done, right, you go into your app, you add the documentation. So, okay, well, I paid the HVAC technician. He had to replace a run capacitor, and the run capacitor was model number XYZ. He also topped off the Freon, and he replaced the filters, right? So the idea would be is you have this application, and you can go in and have it's tracking, right? Tracking for all of your different items you could have around the house, or like I say, more of a landlord sense houses that also very applicable in most business applications, right? So like, let's say you're a trucking company. Well, you want to keep track of, okay, well, we got this vehicle, we got this, this vehicle is 2018 Peterbilt, yada, yada, yada. Here's the VIN number. Here's when we bought it. Here's how many miles it had on when we bought it. All the maintenance records could be documented, so their maintenance techs could plug in all the maintenance information, oil changes, that type of stuff, air filters, all that type of stuff, and then, hey, we get this thing, the alternator's not working on it. Well, cool, we know even if, they got to go tow the truck back, they could have that part on ordered before the truck even gets to the shop. So historically, right, get the truck to the shop and then figure out what it needs, and then, okay, make sure we got the right models, everything, and all that type of stuff, when they could just go through the app and say, that's got a cat motor in it, here's what, horsepower the motor is, this should be the alternator goes with it. Cool, alternator's on order. We got the tower guy going to get the truck, and then when we get back to our shop, well, alternator's already there, or maybe the alternator's just on its route, but right. So you keep track and maybe speed up your maintenance on any trucks you got coming back in, especially oil filters and fuel filters and stuff. Right? Maybe there's some sort of report you could print that says, hey, I want to see all vehicles that haven't had an oil change in 8,000 miles. Right. So any vehicle that's got more than 8,000 miles on it without an oil change. But some of that type of stuff, you may get into weird stuff of like, how do you track mileage, current mileage in the vehicle, right? Somebody had to plug it in every so often, that type of stuff. But you could have your employees track it, right? You could even add like mileage tracking into the software. You're kind of getting away from the primary goal of the software on that point, but you could have mileage tracking. Every time they fill up a fuel, they could plug it in the software. Then you would know exactly how many miles are on the vehicle. You know exactly how much fuel is put in it. The mileage it's getting, right? You could say, okay, well, they drove 374 miles and they put 18, 20 gallons in it, whatever it was, and okay, well, their miles per gallon is this type of stuff. So you know where it was filled up at, right? Maybe you could even track receipts and everything. So like, say you get a bad tank of diesel or a bad tank of gasoline, and it messes up your motor. Well, we know it's been filled up here, right? So you documentation back and say, well, no, this is your problem because you gave me bad fuel, that type of stuff. So anyway, so it could thoroughly speed up your maintenance application, and just add a lot more to your tracking of everything. So there's currently I did a basic Googling search of like some of this type of stuff. I didn't see something that was super exactly what I'm looking for. There are some things, especially there's things like you could set it up and use it, but like it's not necessarily cloud-based, or there's missing features and that type of stuff. Or like I said, the breakdowns don't make sense, right? So like, for instance, a car, right? You'd have a different breakdown. The car would be itself, probably. You probably wouldn't break that out in anything deeper, unless you had, aftermarket parts. But you could break it out. The house is probably the biggest example that I have right now of something with multiple things inside it, right? So you have a house, which is kind of the top level. You have a bunch of information with that, but you could also have things inside the house, and so you have some sort of grouping there. And so, okay, well, I need to go to the house, and then once you go to the house, well, then I got all the information for the house, but also I have a new list of things to choose from. That maybe it's the water heater, maybe it's the toilet, maybe it's the shower faucet, maybe it's the whatever's inside the house you want to track. And so that grouping sounds super useful. And then, like I say, cloud-based, so you can pull up on your computer, pull up on your phone, that type of stuff. Have an app that's somewhat easy to use. Especially because like receipt tracking and stuff, it's going to be easier to do on your phone. You just have a picture of the receipt. Okay, cool. Now it's added to the whatever it is, right? So anyway, that's kind of the idea. Actually, this is already like almost 20 minutes in. I may stop this video here. So I'll title this TrackIt Monologue or something, kind of like a high-level overview of what I'm kind of looking to do, software ideas behind the software, problem it's solving, the type of stuff. And then I'm going to actually make a next video to keep these somewhat straightforward and short-ish, going into actual feature breakdowns, and then maybe even entity management, entity relations, that type of stuff. So on that note, thanks for watching, everybody. If you made it this far, then leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, I guess. It's just going to be a pretty new YouTube channel, since I don't have a whole lot going on it yet. I'm not even sure exactly how this stuff's going to be posted. I thought about making a separate channel, doing it on my own. I don't actually know. We'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe. Check out the playlist. So if you're not already on the playlist, there'll be a playlist. that will have all these videos organized, so you can go top to bottom, you know, start to end, and see the software being built over time. And so, yeah, thanks everybody. We'll catch you later.